Space opening up for Georgia Stanway. Goes for goal! Oh my word! What a screamer!
Hello and welcome everybody to the Women's Soccer Show. I am Ali.
I'm Sarah. And we're talking quarterfinals!
Yes! Boy, do we have an episode for you. These games have been insane, and there is so much we need to talk about.
Look, we're going to jump right into the England game, so you were at the game. I was sadly not, but we were messaging, and I just want to give everybody a little taste of what our back and forth was like. So, this was England's first goal. Sent that little voice message to Ali. And then England wins 2-1. And I get a couple voice messages from Ali. One of them is like nonsense. And then the other one.
Listen to that roar!
And if that doesn't show you what our relationship is like off the pod, then nothing will.
That is my favorite. Listen to that roar. Just the true passion coming out of your voice.
Also, we want to take a brief discussion very quickly before we hit matches. The wave.
Yeah,
Yay or nay?
Well, look, I'm nay. Where I'm from,
Yes,
in
same.
San Francisco Bay Area, at sporting events, if people try to do the wave, we're like, shut it down. We don't do that here. Like, that is for, sorry, LA people, but I'm from the Bay. I don't like LA. That is for bored, like, LA fans who arrive at the game 30 minutes late, leave 30 minutes early, and just are there to, like, do the wave. We don't do that. So I'm not a fan of the wave. I didn't know it was such a thing over there to be like, stop doing the wave.
It's because it only seems to be happening in women's games.
Oh, that's annoying.
Like, exactly. And the reason that it, like, if anybody was following Twitter will have seen my very annoyed grunt tweet, which is against the Germany-Austria game. That game was too good for the wave. It's normally for bored people. It is normally for people where there's nothing happening in the game.
Right.
They try and get a wave started. And I'm like, that game was too good. It did not deserve you not only to do one wave, not even to do two waves. They did like 3 on the trot and then tried to get it going in different directions. I was so, when it came our way, I'm just like sat crossed arm being like, no.
Why does it bug us so much? Like, because at the end of the day, I think if I'm in a good mood, I'm like, oh, people are having a good time, let them enjoy it. And if I'm like pissed about a game, I'm like, stop it, stop that right now.
Yeah. It's all right, because like the people I was with were like, oh, but the little kids really like it. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, I don't really care.
You know what they'll also like is the football match.
Exactly. And I want to be able to see if there's going to be a goal, not some dude's butt in front of me when he's jumping up going, way.
Did that happen to you?
It did happen to me.
That's why you're so extra annoyed right now, is you had some random dude's butt in your face.
Exactly.
Before we move on, I want to give a shout out. As everybody knows, we have some great partnerships going on for the Euros right now. And because our time, attention, energy, every part of our day, frankly, is dedicated to the Euros tournament, we partnered with Women Kickballs because Women Kickballs is a fantastic independent media source that is covering the NWSL in depth. Head on over to Women Kickballs for your NWSL coverage right now while we are covering the Euros. Jackie is amazing. Just such great content and super in depth. Head on over there. And it's at Women Kickballs. Because women kick balls, baby!
So, as we said at the top of the show, this is going to be the jam-packed quarterfinal roundup episode. And because I'm biased, we're going to start off with the first quarterfinal, which was England-Spain. Can I just point out, no game has been more stressful in the stadium, out of the stadium, the whole day. I thought my blood pressure was just going to, like, blow me up.
I could feel the tension through the television. I could
It
feel
was
the tension.
Stress.
I have to say, though, and like, let's just get into it. I didn't understand, like, obviously it was a tense game. There was a lot on the line, and it's just such a well-fought game. But I didn't understand the level of tension that there was in that stadium when it was tied 0-0. I was like, England's handling this well. What are your...
You're wrong, but
Okay.
I like your optimism.
Would you like me to expand on it quickly?
Yeah, you can expand and then I can tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, that's great. And then I'll tell you why you're wrong. Okay, so, I mean, England's playing Spain. Spain is the best at what they do. We should say the score here. At the end of the day, England won 2-1. This, first of all, was a fantastic showing for Spain. This was Spain at Spain's peak. This was the Spain we thought was going to enter this tournament from day one. And England needed to know going into that game that they were not going to be able to control the possession and control the game the way they really like to, because nobody can against Spain. They are literally the best in the world at it. So knowing that, going in and being able to go into halftime 0-0 with, I would say, good momentum. I think the last 5 minutes of the first half were really, really positive. Lots of good shots. England was doing what they needed to do. They were holding off the Spanish attack. They were letting them have the possession, and they were slowly sinking into the game to figure out how to get their opportunities. And that's what it was always going to be, right? Not right.
Yeah.
Not a question. Period.
No, it is a question, and here's why you're wrong. So the problem, I think, is, and I don't know if it was the occasion that got to the England players or if it was the team specifically, but their mentality went for like the first 75 minutes because Spain got into their heads.
Oh, that
like,
I'm agreeing with.
You watched the match, so like but it was little things like you meant that like England could barely string passes together, and like if it hadn't been for Millie Bright's head, we would have been down much more. There's a reason she got Player of the Match.
God bless Millie Bright.
God bless Millie Bright. She's actually having a great England career now because before it was terrible.
That's true.
So England weren't really stringing passes together really well. They were letting the frustration get to them, and that made them even worse.
That I will agree with. Like, when I say that I didn't understand the tension, I mean I didn't understand the tension in the fans or in the players. The players were showing a very clear level of frustration to the point where it was alarming. Like, Lucy Bronze looked so frustrated. But there was a moment where two players were yelling at each other, and that is a huge red flag in terms of mentality. So the players were frustrated, and I understand, like, they were, but I was sitting there being like, I wish you would come into this game knowing that this is simply what was going to happen. So mentally, you had the fortitude to ride this out. And I think that's kind of what Serena Wagman was able to change at halftime, is being like, look, this is the game that we're playing.
I think so. I think that generally is like what Serena did at halftime, because you saw it because we got a goal in the first half that got disallowed for offside, and you saw Ellen White and Lucy Bronze going at it because it was Lucy Bronze's fault it was called offside, not Ellen's, for the one time in her career. But instead of like just letting it go, they were properly like going at each other.
We got to talk about what frustrated England, because Spain was doing an incredible job of executing their game plan, and I texted this
fouling.
to you. Of fouling, yeah, exactly. I texted this to you. This was what Spain did to the U.S. in the World Cup in 2019 as well. They were chippy, they were physical, they were fouling, and a lot from like ankles, which really is frustrating, from behind, which is really frustrating. And that's part of the game plan because that disrupts the flow. England could not find a rhythm, and that's why. And it was getting in their heads as well.
And now you're answering the tension. You're like, I don't know why they were tense the first half. You've just answered your own question.
No, like, obviously that's why they were tense, but I guess I'm saying I don't know why they didn't, like, expect that. And I guess I was sitting there being like, it's going to be fine, guys. Like, just ride this through. This is what was going to happen. So don't get frustrated about it, because this is always how this first half was going to play out, right?
Well, the thing is, if you watch the first half and you see with England, I think they wanted to get out of the blocks quickly. Like, in the first, like, minute, Ellen White got a ball to the face because they were going so quickly. Like, I don't know if you saw it, but she, like, flopped and went down.
And that makes sense for England. They'd come out strong out of the gates in every game so far, right? Yeah?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's what they were trying to do, and Spain didn't let them. I have to give a shout out to their two centre backs in Mapillon and Paredes, because because
we're getting that English accent into a Spanish accent. Don't worry.
So because they really shut down all England attack. Like, they were frustrating Ellen White in that first half so much because it was lots of possession-based football, which we knew was going to happen with Spain because that's what they like to do. But they just weren't allowing. It was just like back and forth between the two of them.
Everybody likes to shine a light on Spain's midfield and forwards because they're so incredibly strong, but their back line does not get the credit that they deserve. These are two of the best center backs in the game, in the full worldwide game right now, playing together, period. And listen, Spain don't need a lot of goals to win because this defense doesn't let a lot of goals in.
So that was like, both teams had bits of shots, but wasn't really going anywhere. So that was the first half.
Yeah.
Cue the second half when the madness happened.
Truly, madness broke out.
Truly
I
madness.
had adrenaline pumping through my body like I was playing the game. At one point, I got up from the couch and I took my roller out, and I was like, I just need to roll out my muscles right now while I'm watching this game because I am so tense right now. Madness.
So Spain scored first in like the 54th minute. It was Esther Gonzalez, who I have a personal grudge against because I kept getting her sticker in my World Cup Panini sticker book. I had so many Esther Gonzalez's.
Esther Gonzalez, who also didn't start in the last match. And this Spain had been through a lot of iterations of starting lineups, and I know there was some controversy among Spain fans if she should be starting. Gets that first goal. Excellent, beautiful Spanish goal. Just worked the English defense. Worked them.
I mean, to be honest, England could have done better with that. So Rachel Daly gets nutmegged.
For the first time.
Merps.
We'll just...
Yeah. Mary Earps almost gets a hand to it, but is too far forward. So she's out of position, which is what Spain have been doing all game. And then Millie Bright attempted to get ahead to it, but just no.
Yeah. And this was a pivotal moment. This was a pivotal moment mentally. You texted me just all caps, shit. And I was like, yeah, like, oh no. Because if England in that moment had dropped their heads, it was over.
And you have never heard a stadium quiet. Like, genuinely.
The air was taken out of that stadium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but England responded wonderfully. It was kind of at that moment that was in concert with when Serena Wagman started making a bunch of substitutions. It was like England kind of held on to that mentality for 5 minutes, and then around the 60th minute, substitutions started to come in. And look, Millie Bright, deservedly player of the match. Also player of the match, every single sub that came on for England. Every single one. I mean, I don't even I'm just going to say, I mean, we're going to talk about all of these in depth because I just have so much to say about everybody. Alex Greenwood, absolutely locked down for Rachel Daly, who was just getting worked on the outside. And maybe that's what we can talk about next, is just the dominance that Spain displayed on the outside, on the wings. Alex Greenwood, just a masterful, I mean, she's a defender. She's a true defender. Chloe Kelly, oh my goodness, the energy that she brought to this game. I was sitting there like, why in the world are you taking Mito off? Don't take Mito off. Chloe Kelly, the energy she brought in. I mean, changed it absolutely. Tooney, do I even have to say? Come on, Tooney. Yeah. Alessia Russo. I mean, even Jill Scott and Nikita Paris coming on at the end. Masterful subs by Serena Wagman, and that lifted England fully.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so they kept, like, banging on the door. But it was getting late, and I'm telling you now, England fans were very much like, this is it. This is done.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that in the stadium. I've just got to say, because I'm not an England fan and I don't have the history of just utter defeat, I was like, we got this. Our mentality is
no fan thought that.
Look, we got the ball more. We're getting more possession. We're getting more shots on goal. Like, this is coming. It's coming, people.
No.
And then, boom, cross into the goal. Header back. Tooney gets the foot on it. And that moment for Tooney running and sliding into the corner, I have chills just thinking about it. Like, for a young player to have that moment at home in front of that crowd, in front of her family, I mean, I'm going to cry.
The thing is, you felt in the Northern Ireland match that they were teeing Tooney up to score. They kept teeing her up, and it just didn't happen. Like, it just didn't work. So to get that goal, to keep your team in this major competition, was huge. And it was a great crossing by Russo and it was gorgeous.
It was perfect. How was that moment in the stadium?
It was amazing because literally all 28,000 that were in that stadium jumped up.
It was just like a party. Yeah, everybody was like, we're back.
And then the madness happened. The absolute madness. So Spain are saying that goal shouldn't count because there was a foul on their defender and keeper.
This might have been more mad in person because on TV it was pretty tame of just like, oh, Spain look like they're arguing and like it's not, and somebody, so maybe Paredes is hurt. And then, like, somebody gets a card on the sideline, and that was it.
They did not show it on the TV, the absolute madness. So like, Spain are fuming. Spain are absolutely fuming. They're saying that they got... Russo fouled their defender.
I thought it was a pretty clean 50-50.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I just think that like, you've been physical all game, Spain. We're giving it you back. And so they're fuming. So you've got Padres, Mapilleon and the goalkeeper all screaming at the ref, like, VAR, like, watch this back. The England team are like off cheering, don't care. So they're giving it all to the ref, and then the substitute goalkeeper has gone to the fifth official and is like absolutely hammering the fourth official.
That's what we figured happened because she got a yellow card.
Wait,
and I also saw on TikTok later that she kicked an ice bucket.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, like, she's giving it all this. At first, I thought it was the manager had been carded. So she's giving it all this. So the ref was like, so they're calling her over. Manager, like, she gets the yellow card, and then there's, like, the drinks cooler, and she absolutely boots it.
With her toes. It looked like it hurt a little bit.
With toes. Doesn't realise how heavy the cooler is.
It barely toppled over.
And then started going on, and then gestured a rather obscene gesture at the fourth official. The fact she didn't get a second yellow and off.
If I'm England in that moment, I am like, oh, we're under their skin.
Exactly. That's going. When the stadium felt it could happen.
Okay, that's when everybody in the stadium was like, let's get louder. Like, we're going to capitalize on this. We're going to make them crumble.
Because it wasn't the goal. The goal itself was great and we were so happy. But to see Spain that had been for like 80 minutes calm, cool, displacing all of us, like our play and stuff like that, and really, like I said, got us down to like 84 minutes thinking that's it, it's over, we're done. And then to see the rage that they had was like, oh, we've cracked them. We've absolutely cracked them.
Do England fans believe now, or are you still a skeptic bunch?
I'll tell you now, so we'll come on to it in more depth. When the second goal happened, in the early extra time, they started singing the song, the It's Coming Home song, 3 lines, and then Spain almost got an equaliser, and it just stopped dead. Like, we were like, no, we're not jinxing it,
we're
not doing it.
We're getting too cocky, cut it off, cut it off.
Pretty much.
All right, we got to talk about just like the general second half, because I really want to talk about this. The general domination of Spain's wing players against specifically England's outside backs was just, I mean, what is the word for it other than dominance, almost humiliation? I feel so bad for Rachel Daly because that was, I mean, it's rough to get megged a few times on the international stage. But everybody, I just have to say, everybody's coming for Daly. I thought that neither of Daly or Bronze played well that game. You saw both of them. Like, Bronze shut it down when she had to. And I know that I already know there's some people out there that disagree with me because I'm in a group chat during the game where we were disagreeing. But, you know, Bronze was shut down when she needed to be. But Rachel Daly and Lucy Bronze both were staying in too tight to the center backs. And it's because they knew that they would get worked 1v1 on the outside. You saw Lucy Bronze doing it too much in the first half, and they were getting worked. Spain was only going down Lucy Bronze's side in the first half. Because
but we also saw it with Hempo. Like, they were shutting down Lauren Hem.
Yeah, they were just 1v1 absolutely working defenders, and then going down the right side in the second half, absolutely working Rachel Daly. And you saw in a moment like Leah Williamson screaming at Rachel Daly to get out and step to the ball. And it just looked like Daly didn't want to because Spain's utter 1v1 talent on the ball I just want to take a moment and recognize the supreme dominance of that. It was a masterclass. It was I don't even know the words for it. I just need to recognize that. That was a massive part of the second half. That was Spain's entire attack in the second half is where that came from.
It was, absolutely. But I think where Spain came unstuck, because they were like that, like I said, for like 80 minutes, they knackered themselves out. Like, they were doing so much possession-based football and keeping it tight and everything else that by the end of it, they were exhausted. And that's when we could get these little breaks. That's when we could, like, frustrate them and wind them up and stuff like that. Because they were just so tired.
Interesting. I didn't think that they looked tired. The team has less depth than England. You saw the depth that England brought on. So, also going into overtime, that's a massive advantage. I thought Spain played this game beautifully. And I think overall we're the better team. They made more mistakes than England and couldn't put goals away in the same efficiency as England. And that was the only difference, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, I don't think this was a great performance by England at all.
I do.
Oh, you, of course you do. I don't.
No. Okay, here we're going to get into this.
Shut up. So, I say I don't think it was a great performance by England at all. We've played better and have got less results. What we did was we took our chances and we got our chances. That was.
But sometimes that's what you have to do. Like, I don't like when people are like, this wasn't a good performance, but like sometimes, especially in a game like this, you just have to do what you got to do to get through. And I thought that what England was able to put together against a strong possession-based Spain team that most people aren't able to maintain possession against was really good. It took them a while to get there. It was really only in the last 10 to 15 minutes that they were able to build to it. But when they figured it out, it was great. And that's what you need in a team is like they figured it out over the course of the game. And that is why in Sarina Wagman we trust.
Yeah, I was going to say, I will say that Sarina gave them a game plan and they clearly had worked on all eventualities.
What a difference having a coach that the players believe in and are like,
yes.
Oh, what you say, I believe we can win with that, with those tactics. I believe you and I will implement them because I believe you.
And you saw all the time that Leah Williamson and Vice Captain Bright would go over to Sarina and get instruction. And like you saw it all the time that they were constantly changing the game plan based on.
That was so great to see Leah Williamson really leading that team. She was super vocal in the back, kept pulling people over one-on-one. Like she was really leading the team that day.
But we've got to talk about the goal. We have to talk about Stanway's goal. Stanner's goal.
It was gorgeous. What a shot.
But I will tell you now, everybody in that stadium was like, don't shoot, you idiot. What are you doing?
Really?
Lay it off.
No.
The thing is...
Maybe you all had bad angles or something like that. It was very clear on TV what was happening.
No, because what it is Georgia Stanway, we love her.
We disagree on everything right now when it comes to England, but I'll tell you my perspective after.
No, we love her, but she has a habit of just shooting randomly outside the box to try and get a worldie, and it works 1 out of 10 times. It doesn't work.
It's not a bad percentage for an outside shot.
It's not. But if you watch her when she was playing at Man City, and you watch her every time it just goes over. It's like she's playing rugby. It goes over. It goes wide. There's no finesse to it. So everybody in that stadium,
I don't think that's giving her enough credit.
In that stadium was like, no, don't shoot. What are you doing? Lay it off, you idiot.
No.
And then when it hit the back of the net.
Listen, you all need to have a little more faith in Stanners over there, okay?
We've watched too much of her to have the faith.
Georgia Stanway is exactly what England needed in this game because she is a workhorse. And I've said this time and time again about her in the WSL. She does not stop working. She is one of those people who can only give 100%. And she will run until she falls over before she gives 50%. And I love that about her. And that is exactly what England needed in that center midfield. Because Fran Kirby was nowhere to be found. When Ella Toone came in, it changed the game. But they really, really needed Stanway to be that kind of 8 and make those runs up and down. And she was offense, defense, she was everywhere. And that is exactly what England needed. About that goal, it was very clear to see on TV. What was happening is she was dribbling at the defense and she was seeing that she was kind of waiting for the defender to step to her for her to lay the ball off, because I'm not going to lay the ball off if you're not stepping to me, because then I'm just passing you the ball, basically. So she's dribbling at the back line, and neither, I think it was Mape Leon, I think it was Paredes, maybe it was Carmona, but I know it was on Mape Leon's side. Nobody stepped to her. They just kept dropping because they knew she was looking to lay it off once they stepped. So they kept dropping, and you could see her be like, oh, okay, if you're not going to step to me, I'm just going to shoot this. And I swear to God, I feel like I saw that in slow motion. That was exactly what she was supposed to do. That's what you are taught on the training grounds. If they do not step to you, you rip that shot. 10 out of 10 times. And it was a stunner of a shot.
So let's talk about Sweden versus Belgium, because this was going to decide who England play in that all-important semi-final.
That is the most important part about this game.
Most
it's
important.
Not Sweden or
No.
Belgium. It's who
Exactly.
England plays. Come on.
Exactly.
People are going to hate us. This is just going to become such an
No, they're going to hate me.
England-centric
It's
chat.
fine. You can play the American card.
Oh, because everybody loves that one.
First off, I have to say huge commiserations to Belgium, because boy, did they put up a fight in this game.
They really did. Heartbreakers too. What a heartbreaking loss for them. It was an even match, I have to say, and in losing this way, 1-0. I have to just shout out Everard, the Belgium keeper, who kept them in this game. And if you follow us on Twitter, you saw our fun fact. Everard is a semi-professional player who runs a bouncy house business on the side. I'm in a big chat with people I play soccer with, and they sent that to me in the middle of the game, and I was absolutely stunned. What a performance.
Yep, she's playing for Ghent at the moment, so I'm just saying, professional clubs, come snap her up, because she will be an asset to you.
If she wants to be, really. You know, maybe she enjoys her semi-pro running a bouncy house business on the side. So 1-0 Sweden to Belgium, and the reason this really was such a heartbreaker is because it certainly looked like it was going into extra time,
and it was like the last kick of the game.
It was like the 92nd minute, at the end of the 92nd minute of like 3 minutes of stoppage time, and Sweden put a goal away. And you know, it did really feel like it had been building. There were, as we were just saying, Everard made incredible saves to keep Belgium in that game, but heartbreaking because you did get the sense, I felt like if this had gone into extra time, it was Belgium's game to take momentum-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweden just looked tired. I think that's the overall running feel, is that they just looked tired. They were quite uninspired. Like, Asllani was the only one, really, that was doing anything for them.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been really hard on Sweden, but frankly, deservedly so. They have been the disappointment of this tournament for me. I came in, as I've said many times before, thinking that they had the potential to be the best team in this tournament, and they have done nothing to change their tactics from game to game. It is the same thing over and over again. They have not changed what went wrong, and it is slow. It is so slow. Asllani was the only person who had the ball, really. She was on the ball far too much, and she was playing too slowly, too. Like a 12-year-old soccer game when there's one player who's clearly like the better one, but also refuses to pass the ball because she knows that she's the one who can score. Exactly. That's kind of how it felt, frankly.
There wasn't a time where they were trying to give it to Blackstenius a lot, but like it was very much about they got to like the Belgium third, and then it was like, oh wait, what do we do? Like they forgot how to play football. Like they were great in their third, great in the middle third, get to the Belgium third, and then was like, wait, what? What am I doing?
I mean, we have to say they were missing two key players, Hannah Glass and Joanna Anderson, who were out with COVID. So obviously that does affect them. But they didn't, as what we said, they haven't changed their tactics. It's the same thing. And we say this fourth game in a row for Sweden. Why aren't you using the width?
They don't like to. They do not like to use the flanks whatsoever.
Which makes it predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I will have to say the disallowed goal, the Black Stars did take the wind out of their sails because they thought they were putting the game to bed early, and then it was millimetres offside, but it was offside, and then that sort of just took them down for the rest of the game, to be honest.
Yeah, and then their final goal, which was coming, they had more opportunities. It was also a product, though, of just Belgium being tired. Yeah, because Sweden did have the ball. They had most of the possession. And Belgium on defense, when you're on defense and you're running that much more the whole game, when you get the ball back, it is so difficult to then turn on more energy to possess the ball. And that's what started happening to Belgium in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game is the defending all game caught up to them. And you saw them really trying hard to keep the ball, and bless them, they ran their hearts out. And they did a relatively good job of it considering how tired they were, but you could still tell it really wore on them and it affected them negatively. We have a semifinal matchup on Tuesday of England versus Sweden, and our commentary, specifically Emma Hayes, who we're going to keep mentioning because she's brilliant, and why would we not? I agree with what she said in that this is going to be perhaps kind of a WSL style game, which, if I were to say that, which side do you think that favors more?
England. I do, and the reason I say that is because, as we've mentioned again, and they don't change it, and I don't see them changing it, is Sweden do not use the width, and we have got Lauren Hemp, we've got Beth Mead, we have got Chloe Kelly, and we have got Ella Toon, all that can play that width brilliantly, and I think that's going to be Sweden's undoing.
Well, I absolutely agree that in an England versus Sweden matchup, Sweden, who want to control the center and only play in the middle, will completely fall to and be exploited by two of the most talented wingers in the game, Lauren Hemp and Beth Mead. Absolutely. That is first note on my note sheet if I am Serena Wagman. However, and I do think watching this Sweden-Belgium game, I was thinking no matter what, how Sweden are playing in this game and how exhausted Belgium are, this is a good sign for England.
Yeah.
So no matter who advanced, I think England has the upper hand also because of the extra 48 hours rest. I want to go back to the WSL point because I completely agree with what you're saying about where England can exploit Sweden. I think if this is a very open game, like WSL is, meaning very up and down and not side to side, transitional really is what the word is, England are going to need to make it less transitional in order to win, because a more transitional game, I think, benefits Sweden, who don't want to use the width anyways, right? So if this becomes WSL style up and down instead of possession-based side to side, that favors Sweden, unfortunately, for England. So it's on England to control the game and control possession, really centering around Kira Walsh, frankly, to calm the game and make it go slower. And if England can do that, I think they have a good chance.
Yeah. I will also say that Sweden, however they have played, are really good at competitions. Like, their biggest, like...
You think that they're just going to win, whether it's ugly or not?
They are. Like, you watch them, how they played in the last World Cup, you look at how they played in the Olympics and things like that. They are good competition-based players.
Oh, I don't think so.
They are.
I mean, they're good at competition, but they struggle in tournaments. They struggle for as great of a team as they are. They
get
have not,
through.
but they don't know how to take. They don't know how to take that last piece. They got through in the Olympics because they were the best team there, and then they crumbled in the final. Absolutely crumbled. They have stumbled through this tournament.
I'm not going to say they're going to win it. I'm just saying that we have to be careful because they can cheekily get through
true.
On competition. But
They've got the experience and the talent.
Exactly.
Let's go around the world. Over to CONCACAF. The USA are CONCACAF champions, so you cannot get rid of us that easily. Winning means an automatic World Cup 2023 bid and a spot in the next Olympics. So the US are here for the next major international tournaments. Let's go.
Over to the African Cup of Nations. South Africa beat Morocco 2-1 to win for the first time in their history. They were consistently runners-up and have finally done it. Congratulations to South Africa.
Finally, over to the NWSL. As you know, we partnered with Women Kickball, so go follow Women Kickballs for all NWSL action while we are covering Euros. But as a quick update, the NWSL is off this coming weekend due to a new clause in their CBA that provides a week's vacation. So good for them. Go to Instagram. All the players are really enjoying their vacation and it's great content. They'll return next weekend of the 29th.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
So, now over to quarterfinal number 2, which was Germany versus Austria. And I just want to see what the difference is between myself and Sarah. Sarah has wrote out some lovely, gorgeous notes about the whole game. My only note is Germany were lucky. And I stand by that.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about the post. So Germany won 2-0, but absolutely not a score that's indicative of the game. Germany were ahead 1-0 for the majority of the game and got one at the end. But Austria, so unlucky. They were saying on TV that Austria tied Germany's record. You know how earlier in the tournament Germany hit the post like a million times, and that was a high for however many, like it was the most number of times a team had hit the post in the Euros, and Austria tied Germany in this game for that. So unlucky when it comes to that, but that is how the cookie crumbles. And frankly, Germany were the better team, but let's dive right into it. Let's talk about Austria first.
I mean, I am going to disagree with that slightly.
Really?
In the fact that, yes, they won, so that technically means they're the better team, but playing-wise...
You thought Austria played better than Germany that day?
For the first 75 minutes, 100%.
What?
But they went too hard and knackered themselves out. Germany was so slow. They were so slow. They were not the clinical Germany we've seen before.
I literally wrote down under Germany, clinical.
No,
Clinical. They were clinical.
They won. What game were you watching? Because they so weren't.
They were absolutely clinical in how they picked Austria apart. They were organized on defense, and they put away the goals that needed to be put away. And at the end of the game, when Austria, they absolutely took the steam out of Austria in the last 15.
I'll give you that.
They knew how to close the game out. But
defensively, they were shambolic. Like, it's only because Austria couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. It was not the Germany we have seen this tournament. This is the first time I've seen them look shaky. Where I was in the Brentford Stadium, we were in line with one of the goals. So we saw both teams. So we were Germany first half, Austria second half. And Germany defensively were absolutely shambolic, apart from their goalkeeper. I will give them that. Their goalkeeper was on point, but if it hadn't been for that, Germany would have been in a lot of trouble because they just weren't. I will stop talking in a minute. I think they underestimated Austria, and I think that was their big mistake because everybody from pundits to fans were going, oh, this is a lock for Germany. This is going to be a 5-0. This is going to be so easy for Germany. Like, they might as well put the B squad in because they're just going to absolutely demolish Austria. And they didn't.
See, we have had very different experiences of this game because I went into it being like, there is no chance Germany are going to underestimate Austria in this right now. They know what Austria can do. They've seen them do it already against England and everybody else in Group A, and they are smart enough to not do that. And I thought, in terms of Germany, we saw them give up more chances. Actually, we really didn't see them give up more chances than they had in the group stages. They gave up about the same amount of chances as they gave up to Spain. They got lucky in terms of a goalpost, but they were organized defensively. Austria were able to capitalize on the opportunities they had, but I don't think it was because of so many errors on Germany's behalf. I just think Austria was able to tactically pull them apart a little bit. And that's, it was a pretty back and forth game. It was pretty even for the majority of it. I thought Germany controlled the ball better. They controlled the pace of the game more. And that's why I give it to Germany as the better team. But I don't think that they were in shambles at all. Like, I thought that they were organized and they knew their game plan and they executed it, frankly. The final quarterfinal that we got to see, arguably the most entertaining, but we'll get onto it. Netherlands versus France. Now, we talked about it. We had no idea how this game was going to play out. And I, unfortunately, was on the plane over to London while it was happening.
So saw nothing.
I saw the highlights only, unfortunately, but you were at the game, Allie.
I was at the game, and I have to say, as a neutral, it was probably one of the best games to be at in terms of atmosphere, in terms of the actual game. Like, everything was just really heightened and you could feel it in the stadium, and it was quite an interesting one as a neutral.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, because from the highlights, it looked like it was a well-played, like good soccer, competitive game on both ends. Mainly, though, France had the most opportunities, but it looked like it was a competitive, fun soccer game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They sort of cancelled each other's out. They were so good. Like, they both knew what the others was going to do, and, like, that was the interesting thing, was the fact that they would all get close and then, nope. And then, it was just... That's all I can say. It was just like my brain is still fried from it.
Well, also probably because you've been traveling all around the country to every single game 4 days in a row.
Yes.
Allie's had journeys, everybody. Before we talk about the game, we have to mention this about the fans, the stadium. You tweeted from our podcast account, "I have now shouted at the Mexican wave starter, my game is going swimmingly." Did you get in a fight in the stadium?
Not a fight as such. It was me and my other half. So he was sat like 3 seats down on our row, and he was standing up. He went, "Right, we're going to do the wave after 10. And me and Kate went, "What? This game is too good for this. What are you doing?" And he was looking at us, and I'm like, and then Kate was like, "People are here for the football, mate, not stupid wave." And I was like, "This game is too good. What are you doing?" And
Kate and Allie putting people in their place in the stadium. Was this fan English? And
yes,
I'm sorry to
yes,
do
he
this,
was.
but it kind of matters.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
And I'm like,
okay.
But no, like, just no.
It was too good for it.
It was too good for
Yeah.
it. You do the wave when the game is boring. This game was not boring.
Let's talk about the game and what happened on the field. And we're going to, get into tactics and everything. But I have to start out with the penalty.
Yes.
I mean, for me, it's an unfortunate way for the Netherlands to go out. But that couldn't have been more clearly a foul, a yellow card, and a penalty. The ref got it completely right. And it's just not a discussion. Sometimes it is, not this time.
I feel for Janssen so hard because her timing was off fractionally. Like, it wasn't like a really late challenge. It was a stone cold penalty. It was. You have to feel for them. I think it's more cruel than the Sweden-Belgium game, to be honest. And you could see the heartbreak in her when it got called. The goalie did what she could do, but it was never not going to go in.
Well, I mean, the Netherlands keeper, Van Donseller, had an outstanding game, and she actually she got her fingers on that penalty, which wasn't a great penalty. France kind of lucky it slid by, but that is how the cookie crumbles. Would you say the better team is?
Based on that performance, no. France looked really tired. They looked really lacking. There was no imagination in their game. There was a lot of frustration on their side. A lot of their players were getting told off by the ref for like insolence and stuff like that because they felt that every decision was against them. And so I think performance-wise, they were lucky. but at the same time, nothing was getting past Wendy Reynard.
See, now this is why it's unfortunate that I couldn't watch this game on the plane, because really from the highlights, it seems like they were creating smart chances, good opportunities, and were simply getting unlucky. Let's talk about the Netherlands first, because I think that there's a lot here. I mentioned Van der Graat is their star for this tournament. She probably played all 4 games with a concussion. Her nose looks destroyed, and she was still there saving goals off the line. She was holding that defense together completely throughout this game. So we got to give it up for her.
Yeah, that off the line save she did was absolutely phenomenal.
And that, kids, is why you keep your arms in at your body when you're on the line, because it hit her arm, but it was in at her body.
Yep, exactly. It was not an unnatural position, so therefore...
Exactly. So, players-wise, Jill Roord. I want to talk about the players before we get into the Netherlands, but let's talk really quickly. Jill Roord not starting in this game after being one of the standout performances, I would say. It was an absolute choice, and it seems that it was a choice because Mark Parsons benched her after she essentially spoke negatively about him to the media.
It's one of those things that for me it is a balance, because I don't like when players are a terrible influence inside and they're giving it all of this and that affects team performance. I don't think what Jill Roord said was necessarily going to affect team morale and things like that. So it did feel a bit like it was a vendetta against Mark Parsons had, being like, you said something about me, you're sitting on the bench.
That's how it felt to me. It was like him trying to grab respect and power as a power move, really. No matter what, a player should never speak to the media negatively about their coach. It, like you said, it influences the team terribly. But the big takeaway that I got from this at the end of the day was, if that's happening, something is not going correctly as it should within their camp. So either the players don't have enough respect for him, or he's not managing it correctly, or something is missing, because for a player to do that, there's a lack of respect, there's a defiance, and then for the coach to bench her because of it, it's a complete power grab. So something's not clicking over there. Over from the Netherlands to France quickly. Now, we've talked about, you think that they were just taking opportunities, and hey, if that's how you're going to win the game, that's fine. Do you feel like there was any consistency from the last game to this game, at least?
Their back line is something to be concerned about if you are the opposition. That's from the goalkeeper and the 4 they had at the back. All 4 of those were phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. There was no getting past them. They were a brick wall. Specifically Wendy Reynard, specifically Mbokbati. Those 2, the 19 and the 3, were absolutely solid. France's biggest problem, which the Netherlands didn't really capitalise on, was on the wing. They don't really play down the wing. They don't like it. They'd like to go through the middle. But those 2 players, for me, were absolutely rock solid, and that is when we see the great France. It was up top that we had issues.
All right, so France take this victory 1-0 in overtime. We now have our second semifinal set. This is Germany versus France. That is happening on Wednesday in Milton Keynes. Germany obviously getting a couple extra days of rest from France. This is going to be a fun matchup.
Yes, absolutely. As a neutral, it's going to be interesting. To be honest, it's going to be interesting to see which Germany, which France turn up. If we get the Germany we got against Austria, it's anyone's game, because we don't know what France is going to turn up. That's the problem. France is the unknown factor. Are we going to get this brilliant, dominant France that we saw before? Or are we going to get the frustrated, petulant, kicking out France that we got against the Netherlands? Who knows? So, everybody, that is our jam-packed analysis of these 4 quarterfinals. We now have our semi-finalists. The first one will be played on Tuesday, that is tomorrow, at Sheffield, which will be England versus Sweden.
And we will all be there, everybody. Check our Instagram. Me, Allie, Helen are all going to be in Sheffield for hours before the game, hanging out. I'll be drinking beer. I don't know about them. And then at the game, And I'm so
For
excited.
the
So
first
everybody-
time, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my goodness.
The
The first time.
we will all be together in the same place.
And it's going to be an England semi-final.
But that is it. And as forever, I have been Ali.
I've been Sarah.
And this has been the Women's Soccer Show.
Thanks, everybody.